Welcome to Power Mirror Installation. We're going to describe how to install power mirrors on a vehicle that didn't previously have them. I installed it on a Chevy pickup truck. There's the original mirror. There's the new power mirror that I purchased off of eBay. Here's what the interior of the original mirror looked like before the installation of the power mirrors. Here's what the power mirrors look like after they were installed. They're a very nice match for the vehicle. Here's the left side power mirror viewed from inside the vehicle, and here's the right side power mirror viewed from outside the vehicle. You can see how it fits onto the door. Well, the next issue was where would I install the switch for these power mirrors, and I decided to install it in the instrument cluster. So what I did was I ran wires from the door to the instrument cluster for the switch installation. Here's the details of routing the wires from the dash to the doors. You've got to remove the kick panels on both sides. And then what I did was I got some shielded 3-pair, which is 6-conductor wire, ran it up through the kick panels, into the door, through the boot, and then into the door itself. Here's a view of the inside of the door without the wire running through it. Of course, the wire just bunches up with the existing door cables. And then I ran the cable up through the door into where the mirror mounts. On the driver's door, I also included remote locks, which I used 1 pair for. Here's the passenger door showing the mirror cable and the 6-pair cable going into the door for the control of the mirror. Here's the mirror cable. It has a small 4-pin plug on it, 1 for each motor, up, down, left, right, and then the 6-pair cable has to be attached to that. So what I did was I got some 16 to 18 gauge copper wire, stuck it into the holes in the mirror plug, bent it over the mirror plug, and soldered it to each pair of the 6-pair wire going to where the switch is. The next thing you're going to have to do is determine the function of each of the wires coming out of the mirror. There is 1 wire for the up-down motor and 1 wire for the left-right motor. What you do is you pair these wires up using an ohm meter. A low resistance means there's a pair. That's either the up-down or the left-right. And then you hook 12 volts up to it, noting which is the positive. Note which one moves the mirror to the right, and which one moves it to the left, and which one moves it up, and which one moves it down, and then make a note of this and tag the wires up, down, left, right on the cable that comes out of the dashboard. You'll have to do this for each mirror. Once you've got this, it makes it fairly easy to connect up to the switch. Here's a photo of the final assembled plug cable assembly. Don't tape it up and seal it like this until after you've verified the operation, which is in the section that follows. I went to the salvage yard to get a control switch assembly. The switch assembly I used came from an older model Chevy Blazer. The same assembly is used in a Jimmy. The switch came with a bezel and also with a connector so I could disconnect the switch or change it if I needed to. What you need to do is look at the schematic of the switch and determine how this is wired to the mirrors. Basically, you can do each mirror. Both mirrors are done, or should be identical. Take the left and the down that we labeled previously from the mirror and connect it to the C-C1, which is the light blue white wire for the right-hand mirror, and B-C2, which is the light green wire for the left-hand mirror. Next, connect the mirror up control, which is the yellow wire on the mirror, to EC1 on the left, brown white wire, and AC2 yellow wire on the right. Then connect the mirror right, which is the red wire from the mirror, to the BC1 on the left and the CC2 on the right, which is white. Now what you need to do is connect the mirror power switch cables up. You can either connect them up to an existing power source or use a plug that you plug into the cigarette lighter and note the positive and the negative. With all the mirror cables connected up and no insulation put on the wires and the power connected, verify that the switch functions properly. In other words, the left mirror is controlled by the left function, up, down, right and left work. Right mirror is controlled by the right function. Up, down, right, and left work. Once this is done, we can proceed to final connections. But in my case, the up, down, left, right was backwards. So all I simply did was I reversed the power, and up, down, left, right worked in coordination with the switch. Anyway, you'll have to troubleshoot this to make sure that everything is proper. Once you're satisfied that all your electrical connections are good and accurate and that the mirrors function as they should, insulate each wire using heat shrink and get the switch ready to install in the dash, which we'll describe in the next section.
Okay, we've got the mirror hooked up, and we've got it connected to an external 12-volt source, and here's our left-right switch. Okay, so I've got the left-handed mirror, the driver's side mirror, hooked up. You can see that this goes back to the mirrors. I'm going to do the right and left, right, left, up, down. I'm going to try to move it so I can see from where I'm at, where we're at. We've got the other mirror. We'll just flip it over to the right-hand mirror. Operate it. Everything seems to be working. The next step is to mount this switch in the dash so that.
Now for the permanent power and fuse connections. What I did was I wired the mirror assembly so that it would work only when the ignition was on. You can wire it so that it works with ignition and accessory, or only ignition, or works all the time. But I prefer to have it work only with the ignition on, and so I selected a plug in my power panel that did this. I inserted a 10 amp fuse in line with it, and the powering to the mirror was complete. So let's mount the switch in the dash. What I did was I cut the switch bezel apart so that I would only have the front end of the bezel that showed mirror up, down, left, right to bolt into the dash. The next thing I did was I drilled a hole in the lower right portion of my instrument panel, as you can see in this figure, just big enough to house the back end of the switch mounting bracket. And then I filed the hole appropriately to make the bracket mount flush. Then I wet the thing down and glued it in with Gorilla Glue. Gorilla Glue makes a good glue because once the thing is dried, it's like a foamy substance that's very easy to remove with an X-Acto knife. I added epoxy to the back just to make it a little bit more solid, and then I wire tied the switch into the assembly and then mounted the assembly into the dash. Here's how it looked before the switch is in it. Here's how it looks after the switch is in it. I thank you for looking. The mirrors work fine. I bought the mirrors on eBay. The total cost of the project in parts plus a trip to the junkyard was less than $60, and you can't go out and buy mirrors for less than $60. I appreciate you looking at everything. Thank you very much. Please visit our website, www.ClassicManuals.net.